because, like you said, a lot of times people are just following the crowd. They just kind of, they don't really have any thoughts of their own on things. And if everyone's kind of doing this whole thing of, not coming forward and speaking up and letting the man kind of have a role, if you like, then everyone's doing the same thing and no one's getting anywhere, because everyone's kind of this defensive thing against guys, rather than coming forward and letting themselves be vulnerable. That's the word I was looking for, very much so. I think we all have it. I mean, I think there's always that vulnerability there, like the woman doesn't want to say, what she thinks, what her idea is, or give up, her opinion, her thoughts, how she feels before the guy does, she may be waiting to say I love you forever, but they're not going to say anything until he says it, that kind of thing, or not to say how she feels or express herself, or even, like I said just now, just offer an idea on something, wants the guy to make the call, if you like, to say what it is. Like, again, like I said just now, it's like, what do you think? Those kind of, what do you think? Oh, do you like me? What do you think? All this kind of stuff. Not yes, I like you. You know what I mean? That kind of stuff. It's like it's a little bit cat and mouse. It's like a cat and mouse thing. It's not giving the full thing. It's like maybe, or what do you think? Or always avoiding making a decision. Avoid giving up their position, where they're at. Avoid giving up where they're at. Avoiding showing their cards. Avoiding showing their hand. They want to avoiding being in the vulnerable position. That's what I mean. It's always this cat and mouse thing, like this chase thing. The guy's trying to get to that place, but the woman's not allowing herself to be vulnerable in that way, showing her hand, how she feels, what her thoughts are on the subject. She wants to hear his thoughts first. So, it's always, the question is said by the guy, what do you think of blah blah blah, and the woman will be like, because she doesn't want to show her hand, she's like, I don't know, what do you think? It's always that kind of chase, that cat and mouse type, having your cards hidden away, holding your cards close to your chest type thing. It's very much a thing. It's common. It's something that's women do, And I'm not saying that men don't do it, and there's other dynamics obviously to be talked about and discussed that are involved in the whole thing. But I'm just focusing now on, as a heterosexual male, how I've experienced it, with women, So it's a thing. It's a thing that that happens. It's a thing that I've experienced a lot with women, because they don't want to show that vulnerability. So if I'm to meet a woman who doesn't conduct herself in that way, or she doesn't act that way, say, it's refreshing, because it's not the norm. It's not the normal thing. The norm is to have this whole, not showing the cards, not laying out everything on the table. It sometimes can come across defensive, but just holding back, not giving out the feeling of what they're really feeling before they know how you feel. And even sometimes, they may not answer the question of how they feel, but they will avoid the answering and will get your answer and still not tell you their side. So then they've got a point. It's like a game. It's like they've got a point, because they haven't said how they feel, but they found out how you feel. Do you get what I mean? So it's like a game. It's this whole cat and mouse thing, and it's very common. It's more, for me, I've experienced that more than I have experienced a woman who comes out and says, I feel this way about this thing, or to be the first one to say or express the emotion of her feelings about me or a situation. That's been more common to me than a woman who has come out and said it and showed her cards and put her cards on the table, or be the first one to say I love you and all this kind of stuff. Like, does it even matter who says it first? Well, yeah, I can see why they may want to do that, but that's you get what I'm saying. Yeah, that's a difficult one. I get that. I get that totally. That's why I kind of retracted it a little bit. I get that. I get it. That's another thing that can be talked out a bit more. But that's just a rough example of cards, having cards to the chest, and then not wanting to show them. Love might have been a bit extreme, because that's a whole other conversation. But you know what I mean. I just ideas about things and opinions about things. It may be simple as, you come out of the cinema. This is just I'm at a cinema right now, so this is why this has come in my head. But you maybe we'll go to see a movie. You come out, And it's a lot of things that are really unnecessary as well, but I get it. I do get why it happens. But you come out of the movie and said, oh, the guy says, oh, what do you think of the film? What do you think? And it'd be, rather than give their expression or explanation or opinion of what they thought of the film, they'll redirect the question back to, I thought it was right. They will kind of skirt around it and then they'll go, what do you think? That kind of thing. That's just a rough example. I don't know if it's a very good example, but that's definitely one of them. Not showing their cards. They want to know what you think first before they say anything. Before they show do you get what I mean? Yeah.